Before we begin, I want you to imagine one moment, a moment so quiet, so ordinary, that most men never realize it's the turning point of an entire relationship. She looks at you, her voice softens, and she says, "Can I tell you something?" Right there, before a single word leaves her lips, you're already being tested. Not on your strength, not on your intelligence, not on your ability to fix her life, but on something far deeper. Whether you can remain a man while she temporarily loses herself. Most men fail this moment instantly, not because they're bad men, but because they don't understand what the moment actually is. They think she's venting. They think she wants solutions. They think she's just emotional. They don't see the truth. When a woman shares her problems with you, she's not opening a conversation, she's opening a doorway. And she's watching what kind of man walks through it. Her nervous system is scanning you. Her instincts are measuring you. Her femininity is testing your stability. She's not asking, "Can you fix this?" She's asking, "Can I trust you with the parts of me that aren't pretty?" This is the moment where attraction is either strengthened or silently destroyed. Because a woman isn't drawn to the man who reacts, or the man who panics, or the man who rushes to fix what she never asked him to fix. She is drawn to the man who remains grounded, the man who holds stillness while her emotions move, the man whose presence makes chaos feel safe. Tonight, we're going to break down what she's really testing and why mastering this one moment separates the men women forget from the men they'll never walk away from. Let's begin. Most men walk straight into this moment blind. A woman begins to talk about something that's bothering her, a bad day at work, a conflict with a friend, a feeling she can't quite articulate, and instantly, the male brain clicks into analysis mode. What's the problem? What caused it? How do I solve it? Men interpret her sharing as a request for action. But what she's doing has nothing to do with the surface-level story she's telling. When a woman opens up about her problems, she's not simply explaining a situation. She's revealing something deeper, her inner world, her emotional environment, her unfiltered mind. This moment isn't about content, it's about connection. Women don't just talk to talk. They talk to feel whether you can handle what's behind the words. And that is where the real test begins. 1. She's testing your presence, not your problem solving. The modern man is conditioned to value efficiency. You hear a problem. You fix it. It feels responsible, masculine, helpful. But to her nervous system, that instinctive jump to fixing sends a completely different message. Your emotions are inconvenient. This needs to be solved quickly. I don't have time for your inner world. To a woman, your urgency feels like rejection, not because you meant it that way, but because you didn't understand what the moment actually was. Her problems aren't puzzles. They're openings into her vulnerability, her safety, her emotional calibration. When she shares something difficult, she's asking only one question: can you remain present with me while I'm not at my best? Most men fail before they even know they're being tested. 2. She's measuring your emotional stability. Here's a truth rooted in psychology and evolutionary biology. A woman's feminine energy is chaotic by nature. A man's masculine energy is stabilizing by design. When she opens up emotionally, she is subconsciously observing whether you tense up, shut down, get defensive, rush to change the subject, get overwhelmed, start offering solutions like a checklist, or whether you can stay anchored. Because emotional steadiness is not a luxury in her world, it's a survival instinct. Women are wired to notice whether a man can stay grounded, centered, and composed, not just when things are good, but especially when things are turbulent. To her, your reaction reveals everything. If you crumble under small emotional weight, you will collapse under real pressure. 3. She's testing whether you can handle her without losing yourself. When a woman shares her internal chaos, she is not asking you to absorb it. She is not asking you to drown with her. She is testing whether you can maintain your identity, your masculine center, while being close to her emotional storm. This is the essence of what her instincts are measuring. Can you stay calm while she's overwhelmed? Can you regulate yourself when her feelings spike? Can your energy remain slow while hers is fast? Can you remain solid without becoming falling cold? Can you stay empathetic without becoming reactive? Most empathetic men either shrink, fix, argue, absorb, or intellectually analyze, but very few simply hold their ground. And that's what she's looking for. She's deciding if you're the kind of man she can trust emotionally. Trust isn't built in big declarations. It's built in small emotional moments. When she shares her problems, she is evaluating, is this a man I can trust with my vulnerability? And the answer isn't based on what you say, but who you become in that moment. Do you stay calm? Do you stay present? Do you stay grounded? If yes, attraction deepens. If no, it quietly starts dying. Most men make a fatal mistake. They assume women open up to everyone. That emotions flow out of them randomly, freely, carelessly. But feminine vulnerability is not casual. It is not impulsive. It is not something she hands out like small talk. Emotional disclosure is selective. And the selection is deliberate, even if she doesn't consciously realize it. If she opens up to you, it means something. It always means something. And the cost of misunderstanding that significance is enormous. Let's dig into the psychology behind her emotional gatekeeping and why it's the doorway to either deeper connection or complete disqualification. Emotional sharing is not free, it costs her something. A woman's emotions are powerful. They move fast. They run deep. And sharing them is risky. When she opens up, she exposes her fears, her insecurities, her frustrations, her internal conflicts, the parts of her that aren't polished or confident. Those moments require vulnerability. Vulnerability requires trust. And trust requires judgment. Sharing emotions is an investment, and she does not invest where she sees no value. Most men don't see this. They think she's just talking, that she's just expressive, that she's like this with everyone. That belief has cost more men attraction than any other misunderstanding. She doesn't share to dump, she shares to choose. Here's the truth. When a woman opens up emotionally, she's making a selection. She's choosing who gets access, closeness, relevancy, emotional intimacy, insight into her internal world. This is why she can be bubbly, funny, flirty, and talkative with many people, but emotionally open with very few. Surface energy is cheap. Depth is expensive. She shares surface stories with the world. She shares internal reality with the man she's evaluating. And that evaluation isn't about whether you approve of her, it's about whether she can trust you. Her nervous system decides who gets in. Women don't choose emotionally safe men based on logic. They choose based on nervous system cues. When she shares something vulnerable, her body is asking, does this man feel safe? Does his presence calm me or destabilize me? Does he judge, adjure, rush, or minimize me? Does he stay grounded when I'm not? Does he hold his frame when my emotions get intense? Her instincts are scanning your tone, your posture, your breathing, your micro-reactions. She isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for stability, because stability is the foundation of feminine trust. If your presence makes her feel like she can relax, she steps closer. If your presence creates tension, she steps back. Two men, two versions of her. This is why two men can know the same woman and experience completely different sides of her. One man gets laughter, jokes, surface conversation. The other gets depth, vulnerability, the unfiltered truth. Most men take this personally. They think, why does she open up to him but not to me? Why does she trust him more? Why does she act differently depending on who she's talking to? The answer is simple. She is not the same woman with every man. She is the woman her safety allows her to be. Your behavior dictates her depth. Not because she's manipulative, not because she's testing intentionally, but because emotional sharing is survival. And survival is never random. Misreading this moment quietly disqualifies you. When a woman opens up and you treat it as just venting, background noise, an inconvenience, something to tolerate, a moment to rush through ways, or a problem to solve, you send her nervous system a crystal clear signal. You were wrong to trust me with this time. She may not say anything. She may not argue. She may even smile and continue talking to you normally. But internally, the door begins to close. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. And once that door closes, emotional intimacy rarely comes back. Most men think a woman's emotional moment is about the story she's telling. It's not. The content is secondary, sometimes irrelevant. What matters, what she's actually watching, is your state. A woman's emotional expression is not a request for solutions. It is an instinctive test of your stability, your regulation, and your capacity to hold your ground when her emotions temporarily lose theirs. She is not testing your intelligence. She is not testing your logic. She is not even testing your empathy in the traditional sense. She is testing something far deeper. Can this man remain himself while I'm overwhelmed? This is the most important moment in early attraction, and the moment that most men fail. Emotional volatility is information. She's watching how you handle it. When a woman becomes emotional stressed, frustrated, overwhelmed, her nervous system becomes active. Her thoughts speed up. Her feelings intensify. Her sensitivity rises. This is not a flaw. This is biology. And in that activated state, she instinctively scans you. Do you tense up? Do you start breathing faster? Do you get uncomfortable? Do you try to escape the moment? Do you rush to fix things? Do you get irritated or defensive? Or do you remain centered in that Paris moment, whether you know it or not? You're showing her your emotional architecture. She is not listening to your words. She is watching your composure. Because composure is masculine safety, and safety is the foundation of her attraction. The 3 male responses that make her pull away. Most men respond in one of 3 predictable and disastrous ways. The defensive man, he takes her emotions personally. He hears her frustration and immediately believes he's being blamed. He responds with explanations, justifications, clarifications, subtle arguments. This makes her feel unseen, because he made her emotions about him. The fixer, he goes straight into problem-solving mode. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3. Logic. Efficiency. Strategy. It sounds helpful, but it communicates impatience and emotional immaturity. He doesn't know how to sit with feelings, so he tries to erase them. The collapser. He absorbs her emotions until he's drowning in them. He becomes anxious because she's anxious. He becomes tense because she's tense. He thinks collapsing with her is empathy, but to her nervous system, it signals only one thing: you can't handle me. And that kills attraction instantly. The rare response, the grounded man. There is a 4th response, the one almost no man naturally gives. Emotional grounding. He doesn't panic. He doesn't rush. He doesn't fix. He doesn't collapse. He remains himself slow, steady, aware. His breathing stays calm. His tone remains relaxed. His body stays open. He becomes the opposite of her chaos, a steady presence, a regulated nervous system, a calm masculine center. He creates stability without saying a word. He lets her finish her thoughts without interfering. He listens without urgency. He acknowledges without judgment. He stays present without absorbing. This is the man she feels safe with. This is the man she respects. This is the man she becomes more attracted to, because her nervous system makes one profound realization: I can fall apart. And he won't. Women don't want you to fix their emotions. They want to see if you can hold your own. When she shares her stress, here's what she's actually assessing. Is your confidence stable? Is your emotional center self-controlled? Can you stay grounded under pressure? Can you stay calm without turning cold? Can you be present without becoming reactive? Does your masculinity absorb chaos or repel it? This test is not Axpeeling, conscious. She's not manipulating you. She's not designing the moment. Her instincts run the test. Her nervous system reads the results. And your reaction is the answer. Attraction is built in this moment, not in compliments. Not in dates. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he says the right thing. She falls because he feels like the right man. Your calm, your groundedness, your stillness, your presence, your ability to stay stable while she's storming. Those qualities are what make her trust you, and trust is what makes her choose you. Most men try to impress a woman with their actions, but the men women feel drawn to are the ones who don't break during emotional pressure. When a woman opens up to you and you immediately start offering solutions, strategies, and step-by-step plans, It feels logical to you. It feels productive, masculine, even loving, but to her, it lands completely differently. Because the moment you rush to fix her problems, you reveal something you never intended to show. You're uncomfortable with her emotions. And the second she senses that, attraction begins to quietly unravel. This is the part that confuses so many good men. They believe effort equals connection. They believe solving equals supporting. They believe action equals leadership. But relationships don't respond to logic the way the masculine mind does. Women feel the tone beneath your solution, not the solution itself. When you try to fix her problem right away, you skip over something essential, her emotional state. You leapfrog the part she's actually sharing, the place where the connection could have grown. You may think you're helping, but what she experiences is something entirely different: dismissal. Not intentional, not cruel, but still dismissal. Because fixing sends a subtle message. Her nervous system hears instantly, "Your feelings make me uncomfortable. I need you to stop feeling this way. I want this emotional moment to end quickly." Your emotions are a puzzle, not an experience. I'm here to correct you, not meet you. Even if you say the most intelligent thing in the world, what she feels is that you aren't with her, you're above her. Observing the moment like a mechanic diagnosing a problem, women don't open up to receive instructions. They open up to feel met. Imagine she's caught in a storm. When you immediately fix, you're not standing beside her in the rain, you're shouting from the porch, telling her how to get out of it. That's not connection, that's management. The masculine instinct to fix comes from a good place, but in emotional moments it becomes an escape mechanism. Fixing allows you to avoid the discomfort of sitting in uncertainty. It allows you to bypass the vulnerability of truly meeting her where she is. And it allows you to feel strong while quietly avoiding the deeper strength required, the strength to stay present without needing to control anything. Women don't test men through logic. They test through emotional rhythm. When she shares her struggle, she's not evaluating the quality of your solutions. She's evaluating the quality of your presence. She's not listening to the advice. She's listening to whether your tone changes, whether your posture stiffens, whether your energy speeds up, whether you're trying to escape the moment by making it tidy and manageable. She wants to feel that her emotions don't knock you off center. Fixing immediately shows that they do. A man who solves too quickly becomes a man who cannot hold depth. A man who cannot hold depth becomes a man she cannot trust emotionally. And a man she cannot trust emotionally becomes a man she slowly detaches from. Something subtle happens inside her when you skip presence and jump to solutions. She pulls back, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. She feels less seen, less understood, less safe, and she begins to adjust accordingly, sharing less, opening less, expecting less. Most men never notice this shift until it's too late. They think the relationship just faded, not realizing their urge to fix slowly starved intimacy of oxygen. And here is the paradox. When you stop trying to fix her, she actually becomes more receptive to your leadership. When you stay grounded, When you listen without urgency. When you hold space without trying to control the moment. Something inside her settles. Her nervous system softens because she senses she is not alone inside her own emotions. She feels witnessed, not evaluated. Only then does she actually become open to your perspective. Only then does your guidance matter. Only then does she trust your direction. Presence creates permission. Fixing destroys it. A woman doesn't fall for a man who solves her problems. She falls for the man whose presence makes the problems feel less heavy. And that is a strength no solution can replace. There is a moment, a quiet, almost invisible moment when a woman is sharing her struggles and she pauses, not to wait for your advice, not to hear your assessment, but to feel your presence. This is where emotional containment begins. Most men have never heard the term, yet it is the single masculine trait women respond to more than charm, confidence, or intelligence. It is the ability to stay grounded while someone else's emotions move. It is strength without tension, calm without coldness, authority without control. Emotional containment means your presence creates stability instead of adding pressure. It means you stay still while her emotions shift. It means you're the mountain, not the wind. When a woman opens up, her nervous system is activated. She's feeling many things at once: fear, doubt, anger, confusion. Her mind isn't linear. Her emotions don't resolve neatly. She's not looking for logic in that moment. She's looking for regulation, yours. Because regulation is contagious, your calm slows her breathing. Your stillness steadies her tone. Your grounded presence gives her something to lean into. This is emotional containment, not because you change her emotions, but because you don't let them change you. And this is where most men fail the test without knowing one ever existed. Some men try to fix the problem quickly, hoping the discomfort ends. But containment isn't about ending the moment. It's about holding it. Other men absorb her emotions, letting her sadness become their sadness, her stress become their stress. They turn into emotional sponges, overwhelmed, reactive, destabilized. But containment isn't about merging with her feelings. It's about staying distinct while staying present. Then there are the men who shut down, withdrawing into silence or distance because they feel unequipped. But containment isn't about disappearing. It's about being right there with her, steady, unshaken, unafraid. Containment looks like this. She's spiraling, and your breathing stays slow. She's upset, and your voice stays calm. She's emotional, and your posture stays relaxed. She's reaching outward, and you remain centered inward. That contrast is what soothes her more than anything you could ever say. A woman doesn't need a man to feel what she feels. She needs a man who can stand next to her emotion without being pulled under. That's containment. It's what creates safety on a level deeper than conscious thought. When she shares her problems, she's subconsciously watching. Do you lose yourself when I lose myself, or do you hold your ground? A man who can hold his ground becomes unforgettable, not because he's perfect, but because he embodies stability in a world where almost everyone is reactive. This doesn't mean invalidating her emotions. It means acknowledging the experience she's having without collapsing into it. She says, "I feel overwhelmed." And you don't rush in with advice. You don't tell her she shouldn't feel that way. You don't panic with her. You simply meet her with steady presence. Communicate through tone, posture, and energy. "I see where you are. I'm not moved by chaos. You're not alone in this moment." That alone regulates her nervous system. Containment is not submissive. Containment is not passive. Containment is not just listening. It is masculine leadership without control. It is strength without force. It is softness without fragility. It is the rare ability to create internal stillness strong enough to calm someone else's storm. And here's the paradox: women rarely verbalize this need. They don't say, "I want a man who can contain my emotions." Instead, they simply feel safer with the men who can, and slowly distance themselves from men who can't. Containment is the invisible separator. It's the difference between a man she sees as comforting and a man she sees as strong. Between a man she trusts and a man she merely talks to. Between a man she opens up to and a man she stops opening up to. When you understand containment, you stop trying to win her through solutions, effort, or performance. You win her through presence. Because here's the truth: a woman doesn't fall for the man who reacts to her emotions. She falls for the man who can hold them without losing himself. There is a misunderstanding that destroys good men quietly from the inside: the belief that being supportive means absorbing her emotions. That, to show care, you must feel what she feels, hurt when she hurts, and carry the emotional weight with her, sometimes even for her. But this is exactly where a man loses his strength, his frame, and eventually her respect, because there is a profound difference between grounding a woman and carrying her. Grounding is masculine. Carrying is self-sacrifice disguised as love, and one builds connection while the other suffocates it. When you ground a woman, you remain fully yourself, steady, regulated, unshaken while being emotionally present with her experience. You're next to her storm, not inside it. Your presence gives her something solid to hold on to. She can see your calm. She can feel your stability. And your stability invites her nervous system to settle. But when you carry a woman, you abandon your center. You let her emotion override your own internal rhythm. You take responsibility for feelings that aren't yours to hold. You feel the pressure to fix everything, prevent everything, stabilize everything. Slowly, you become exhausted. Quietly, you become resentful. Eventually, you become emotionally drained. And the irony is crushing: the more you carry, the less safe she feels. Because a man who collapses under her emotions, even out of love, becomes a man she must emotionally protect. A woman may appreciate sympathy, but she can't trust instability. Not when it comes in the form of a man who should be her anchor, not her echo. When you absorb her emotions, you're not showing strength. You're showing that her emotional world has the power to topple yours. You're showing that her storm dictates your weather. And that is the exact opposite of what feminine instincts seek. A woman doesn't want you to drown with her. She wants to feel that nothing she feels can drown you. This is where emotional containment turns into leadership. You show that you won't run from her emotions, but you won't let them dominate you either. You are present but unclaimed, connected but unmoved, caring but unwavering. That balance is what makes a woman relax into her feminine nature, because your stability makes it safe for her emotions to flow without guilt, without pressure, without fear of breaking you. Grounding sounds like this: I'm here. I get why you feel that way. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to rush through this. Carrying sounds like this: I'll fix it. This is my fault. Let me take all this on. I don't know what to do. Just tell me. One creates strength. The other creates dependency and emotional burnout. Women don't fall for men who try to rescue them from feelings. They fall for men who show that feelings are safe in their presence. Grounding is masculine emotional leadership. Carrying is emotional overinvestment. Grounding respects her emotional process. Carrying tries to control or neutralize it. Grounding creates polarity. Carrying kills it. When a woman feels grounded by you, not carried, she shifts. She softens. She trusts. She opens. She feels safe to express, without filtering herself or protecting you from the weight of her vulnerability, because she no longer fears that her emotions will break you. She sees a man who can withstand the full spectrum of her storms. And in that realization, something else happens. She stops testing. She stops doubting. She stops holding pieces of herself back. A grounded man unlocks parts of a woman that no amount of charm, confidence, or good intentions ever could. Because grounding isn't just emotional strength. It is emotional leadership. It is masculine presence at its purest form. And it is the moment where everything begins to change. The most devastating part of male-female dynamics is this: men almost never lose women during the chaos. They lose them during the silence. Not during the arguments. Not during the misunderstandings. Not even during the moments when she's emotional, overwhelmed, or frustrated. They lose her in the moments after those moments, when she stops bringing her inner world to you. Every relationship, every connection, even every potential connection, has a silent threshold. A moment where a woman realizes, consciously or not, that opening up doesn't bring her closer to you, it pushes her further away. And once that realization forms, it doesn't come with a dramatic exit. It comes with a quiet withdrawal. This is the collapse most men never see. It starts subtly. She still talks to you, still smiles, still engages. But her words shift. The depth disappears. She becomes lighter, more polite, more fine. She keeps conversations safe, predictable, shallow. She laughs, but her laughs aren't anchored. She shares, but only the surface-level pieces of her world. To you, nothing looks wrong, but to her, something vital has already broken. Women don't stop opening up because their problems go away. They stop because you no longer feel like the place their problems can land. It's never instant. It's a slow erosion. Maybe you tried to fix too fast. Maybe you absorbed too much and collapsed. Maybe you minimized her feelings without knowing it. Maybe you simply weren't grounded enough for her to trust the moment, whatever it was. Her nervous system recorded it. And once a woman's nervous system stops feeling safe with you, emotional intimacy begins to die in silence. This is where attraction quietly dissolves. Not because she wants to leave you, not because she doesn't care, but because she feels alone with you. That is the emotional death sentence no relationship survives. A woman will stay through conflict. She'll fight through frustration. She'll push through misunderstandings. But she will not stay when she feels emotionally unseen. Men often say, "She changed out of nowhere." No, she didn't. She adapted. She learned that bringing her truth to you doesn't create connection. It creates tension, confusion, or instability. So she stops coming closer and starts building an emotional world you don't have access to. And once that separation forms, the relationship isn't dying, it's already dead. Contrast that with the man who remains grounded. He doesn't absorb. He doesn't fix prematurely. He doesn't panic or personalize her feelings. He listens. He stays rooted in himself. He becomes the place where her emotions can be felt, not solved. With that man, something very different happens. She doesn't shut down. She leans in. She begins to trust him with parts of herself she hides from the world. She takes emotional risks because he has proven he can hold the moment without collapsing or controlling it. She stops testing because he has already passed the test through steadiness, not speeches. And the deeper truth is this: women don't leave when they feel too much. Women leave when they feel too little. Too little safety, too little grounding, too little emotional presence, too little understanding of what they were really asking for. A woman's emotional sharing is the doorway to connection. Most men slam it shut without even realizing it. But the man who keeps that doorway open, the one who can hold himself steady in her storm, becomes unforgettable. Not because he solves everything, not because he's perfect, but because she never has to choose between being honest and being loved. And that is the man she stays with. There is a moment in every man's journey with women where he believes he's doing everything right. He listens. He cares. He wants to help. And yet somehow he feels drained, overwhelmed, or emotionally exhausted. He doesn't understand why being supportive feels heavy. He doesn't understand why the more he tries to help her, the more unbalanced he becomes. This is the trap almost every good man falls into, confusing grounding with carrying, because somewhere along the way, men were taught that supporting a woman emotionally meant absorbing her feelings, fixing her moods, or rescuing her from her own internal storms. They believed that the more they took on, the more loyal or loving they appeared. But the truth is far more brutal. A woman doesn't want a sponge. She wants an anchor. A sponge soaks up emotions. An anchor holds steady despite them. And most men, without realizing it, become sponges. A sponge hears her stress and immediately internalizes it. A sponge feels responsible for making her feel better. A sponge personalizes her frustrations. A sponge tries to stabilize her by destabilizing himself. And the tragedy is this: a sponge thinks he is helping. A woman feels the opposite. she feels less safe, not more. Because when her emotions rise and you absorb them, you aren't grounding her, you're drowning with her. You're showing that your emotional center is fragile, that her internal chaos becomes your external collapse. Women don't trust that. Women don't respect that. Women don't chase that. Why? Because she doesn't want to manage a man who disappears under emotional weight. She doesn't want to carry your reaction to her feelings on top of carrying her own. She wants the opposite. A man who remains himself while she is temporarily not herself. That is the anchor. An anchor doesn't judge. An anchor doesn't fix prematurely. An anchor doesn't internalize her emotions as his identity. An anchor simply remains, present, steady, unmoved by the turbulence around him, not cold, not distant, not detached, just rooted. And here's the paradox that most men never learn. When you stop carrying her emotions, she becomes more open with them. When you stop absorbing her stress, she relaxes more deeply around you. When you stop collapsing, she stops escalating, because her nervous system isn't just reacting to her emotions, it's reacting to your reaction to her emotions. If you panic, she spirals. If you try to fix too fast, she feels misunderstood. If you absorb, she feels responsible for you. But if you remain grounded, her body softens, she regulates, she settles. This is why emotional containment, not emotional absorption, is the essence of masculine presence. It protects you from burnout. It protects her from emotional loneliness. And it protects the connection from silent erosion. Picture it clearly. A woman is emotional. Her world feels loud, messy, overwhelming. A sponge leans in too much. An anchor holds steady. A sponge mirrors her chaos. An anchor remains calm. A sponge tries to rescue her. An anchor lets her feel and then feel safe. Most men never realize that being a sponge is not compassion. It's insecurity disguised as love. But being an anchor, that is discipline, that is strength. That is the masculine grounding women are instinctively drawn to, even if they can't explain it. Because real masculine presence is not about taking her pain. It's about making sure your presence doesn't add to it. And when a woman finds a man like that, a man who can stay emotionally centered without shutting down or absorbing, she doesn't just open up. She bonds. She trusts. She chases. Not because he fixed her, but because he stayed himself while she felt broken. There is a moment in every failing connection where most men still think everything is fine. She's still there. She still replies. She still goes through the motions. Nothing dramatic has happened. No fights. No explosions. No declarations of unhappiness. But something invisible has already shifted. Her presence remains, but her openness disappears. And this is where almost all men get blindsided, not by the breakup itself, but by the silence that came long before it. Because women do not leave suddenly. They disconnect quietly, gradually, softly, layer by layer. What men call a sudden breakup is simply the moment she finally acted on a decision she made months earlier. And that decision wasn't based on one argument, one mistake, or one moment. It was based on something far more subtle. She stopped feeling emotionally safe with you. Not physically unsafe. Not relationally unsafe. Emotionally unsafe, meaning she could no longer open her inner world without feeling misunderstood, minimized, or alone. This is where men fail without noticing it. She brings you something small, stress, frustration, confusion, and instead of meeting her where she is, you rush to fix, defend, explain, or shut it down. And to you, it feels innocent, logical, efficient, but to her nervous system, a different message is repeated over and over. Here is not a place I can land. He doesn't meet me where I am. He doesn't see me, he manages me. I'm alone with my emotions, even when I'm with him. And slowly, quietly, she adapts. She stops sharing the deeper things. She keeps conversations surface level. She avoids anything that risks emotional disappointment. She chooses lightness over vulnerability, distance over disappointment. This isn't anger. This isn't punishment. This is emotional survival.